Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, strange and unusual things, I'm doing the Paxy Heart tag. Now, Pax Panic, if you don't know, is a fantastic booktuber who's going through a terrible health crisis at the moment. She was diagnosed with cancer a little while ago and she's going through treatment for that as we speak. There is a GoFundMe to support her with her medical costs. I would urge you, if you've got any spare money at all at the moment, just click on the link. I'll put it in the description for the video, and send a few dollars or pounds or whatever her way. Every little helps with things like this. Anyway, David at the channel David's Book Reviews has created this fantastic tag in honour of Pax. He didn't tag anybody in it when he did it, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, that's my tag for this week. So here it is. So there's, I think, 8 or 9 questions, and they're all really good questions. So they're all kind of inspired by Pax and her channel. So let me dive in and start answering them. So the first question or prompt is, no shame, what's an extreme horror book that you're proud to own? So I've got a couple for you here, and I'm pretty sure I first heard about this author through Pax. So the author is Brian Bowyer, who's an extreme horror author, but not so when you hear the term, or when I hear the term extreme horror, I always think about stuff that's just needlessly unpleasant and just dwells on horrific stuff for no real purpose, and it feels like the only point of the books is to be disgusting. That is definitely not true of Brian's books. They are extreme, they are very graphic, but there's something more there, both in his writing and in the stories that he's telling. I think he's really a very talented writer. I bought and reviewed this book, Sinister Mix, by him, which is a short story collection, not long after I started the channel. I've subsequently chatted with Brian a few times over various messaging services. He sent me a couple of other of his books, including this one, Autumn Gothic, which I read and reviewed on the channel recently as well. I really do think, as indie horror authors go, he's one you should check out. And I have no shame at all in having these extreme horror books on my shelves. As I say, I really do think he's very talented. Right, next prompt then is Green Love. Name a strange and unusual channel you enjoy watching who strives to be different. So for this one, I'm going to go with Eve at the channel Horror and Inconvenience, who does talk about horror, but talks about all sorts of different things on her channel as well. So Eve is a bookseller, so always has interesting things to say about kind of the marketing of books and the publishing industry, and just has a very unique style. Has little quirks and things like that she puts into her videos, which are a constant delight. So definitely worth watching. A very engaging booktuber with far fewer subscribers than she deserves. Next question then, the Tag Owl. What's a tag you felt you didn't do a good job with? I'm never sure if I do a good job with tag videos at all, with any of them. I can't think of one that I feel like I really aced. I do enjoy doing them though. I think they're fun. I think it's quite nice having a random selection of questions to go through. I guess the one that comes to mind recently, which I feel like I could have done more with, or maybe promoted better, is the poetry tag, where the purpose of the tag was to create poems out of book titles, which I thought was really fun. I did a couple of poems in the video, but that video is one of my worst performing videos for months and months and months. So I don't know if it was a thumbnail or just the concept or what, but people did not like it. People did not like that video. So that's my answer for this one. Next question then, Dead Poet Society. So Pax is a big fan of poetry. The prompt here is, who's your favourite poet? I am not a big fan of poetry. I would much rather read a story than a poem. I don't really get poetry. I don't know if I'm just not cultured enough. So initially I was going to say I haven't got an answer for this question, but then I remembered that Bert at the channel Pastori Time is a poet, and he wrote this fantastic book, Hey Bert. So Hey Bert by Roberto Pastori. I urge you to go out and buy it. As I say, I don't like poetry, but I loved this book. I thought it was really charming, really lovely, quite moving, very funny at times. So yes, Bert from the channel Pastori Time is definitely my favourite poet. Next one then. Mrs. Horse, who's your favourite sidekick or companion in a horror story? So I'll put up a picture of him because it's difficult to show in one of these manga volumes. But my favourite sidekick is Pochita, I'm pronouncing that right, from Chainsaw Man. So Pochita, and I've only read the first volume of Chainsaw Man so far, which he's in quite a lot. I'm not sure if he's in the rest of it as much, but you can certainly get cuddly toys of Pochita, which suggests that he is an enduring character. So Pochita is like kind of like a dog, but with a chainsaw coming out of his head. So he's very cool and very cute and very funny and very horrible as well. Next one then, The Burning Girls. What's the first novel you were recommended by a booktuber? So I was trying to think, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But one series of books that I know I was recommended early on in my booktube journey, both by a booktuber, so by Juan at Plagued by Visions, and also by people in the comments, is Derek Raymond. So I've talked about Derek Raymond a couple of times on the channel. I think he's a phenomenally good writer, or what was a phenomenally good writer. Really dark, really bleak, really fantastic. His Factory series of books, of which this is the first, is just absolutely brilliant. So Derek Raymond is my answer for that one. Next question then, we're nearly there now. Different is good. What's a novel you enjoyed that's outside the genres you usually read? So I normally read crime, pulp and horror, as you may have guessed. But I do read, I do try and read more broadly than that as well. And one of the genres I've been getting into a lot more since I started BookTube is romance, and particularly category romance, so the kind of mass-produced Harlequin, Mills and Boon type stuff. And one I read from the Harlequin Intrigue line, which was absolutely fantastic, was Appalachian Prey by Debbie Herbert. Wonderful cover with a pregnant woman with a shotgun, which I just think is marvellous. So this was really good. It was a romance, but it had definite thriller aspects to it as well. Really entertaining, really suspenseful, but quite sweet and lovey-dovey as well. So yeah, Appalachian Prey is my pick for that one. Okay, final question then is Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I think you're not supposed to say Beetlejuice 3 times, are you? But I feel like I've been duped into saying it. Anyway, the question is name 3 new booktubers who you find entertaining. So one of them is very new. The other 2 are less new but newer than me, if that makes sense. So I still consider that quite new because I haven't been doing this that long. So they are Roy from the channel Roy Reads Anything, and Roy really does read anything and always talks about it very entertainingly and engagingly. Nettie from the channel Digging Books, who's the very, very new one, who talks mostly about horror. And Michelle from the channel Michelle's Melancholia, who again mostly talks about horror, but all 3 of them really, really entertaining, definitely worth checking out. I will put links to them in the description for the video. And finally then, I have to tag some people, so I'm going to tag a couple of people on this one. This is a very new tag, so I don't think either of these people have done it yet, so I'm going to tag Michael K. Vaughan and MJ from the channel Reading This Life. So, time for a random book from the shelves. Today's book is one I think I've got 2 copies of. I'm not sure where the other copy is. So I got this copy in a Abominable Book Club box recently. I'm fairly sure I bought a copy of it off eBay a few months ago as well. So anyway, the book is The Totem. The author is David Morrell. So David Morrell, best known for the Rambo character. So he wrote the novel that First Blood was based on, but writes really suspenseful and grueling, quite often, thrillers as well. This one has more of a horror bent to it, I believe. So looking forward to reading this one soon. So I hope you found that interesting. As I said at the start, if you've got a few spare quid this week and you fancy supporting Paxy's GoFundMe campaign rather than buying another book to go on the shelves, then that will be wonderful. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.